All right, welcome back to another episode of Just Kidding Man. I'm Jose,
I'm Kong.
and today we have a very special guest.
I'm Josh.
Yeah, we have Josh. He is our
guest.
Our guest today. He is our comic book shaman, I guess you could say.
The holy
Diller.
one.
Yeah,
The dealer, the holy one.
he gets us our fix.
So you guys getting a rare treat. So Josh over here, he's opening up his new comic book shop.
Yeah.
Like so tell us about it. Like
Yeah.
where's it located? What's it called?
So
Like
I'm going out on my own with the Comic Book Clubhouse, and it's going to be at 35 West Alexander Avenue,
Okay.
London Plaza.
Okay.
And so basically, yeah, I've been in the comic industry now for 10 years.
Okay.
For 7 of those 10, I've worked for someone. For 3 of those 10, I became a partner with someone, and partnerships are hard.
Yeah.
They're very hard. So so I decided that I wasn't able to build the comic shop that I think Merced needs,
Okay.
but also that is going to be successful. And so through a group of negotiations, I left the partnership, and I am now doing my own thing. So that's going to be fun.
Okay.
so the name Comic Book Club, is that like set or is like or you can
That
change
is the name. It is the Comic Book Clubhouse.
Is that what you chose or
That's
like
what I chose. So I'm a big believer of names they should tell you what you need to know.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, if I owned a comic shop called Blue Sky,
Uh-huh.
what does that mean? Right? I mean, like,
Exactly.
if a random person walks by and sees a sign
Yeah. Yeah.
that says Blue Sky,
Uh-huh.
what does that tell you?
It means, what does that mean? What would you
Like,
say?
would you know what it is?
No.
If there wasn't the word comics in it or
No.
anything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah,
right?
it seemed like a soap place or like you sell like shampoo. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Something
Absolutely,
like that.
right.
Or candles or
You
candles.
know?
stuff.
A Bath and Body
Yeah,
Works
like
type
that.
stuff?
Yeah.
And so I always, the comic shop that I was that was my problem. Because, you know, like, you want to build a brand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my brand was always comics.
Okay.
Because what does the title mean, right? If I just said Blue Sky,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so when I came up, I had a few names for it. You know, I was thinking one was going to be like Head in the Clouds Comics.
Okay.
And, you know, and you have to add the comics to know what it means. And
Yeah.
Head in the Clouds is escapism and stuff. And
Yeah.
it was fine, but I wanted to get out of the sky.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to be in the sky anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was thinking like Out of the Ashes,
Okay.
because it has like a cool and the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And, you know. Yeah.
Phoenix Comics. Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think that for a comic book shop in today's climate
Mhm.
to be successful, it has to be all about community.
Yeah.
It has to building a community and a place. And I was all about, I want people to come in and talk to me.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I'll talk about anything.
Oh yeah.
And so why not? It's a clubhouse.
Yeah, I can
you know?
speak from experience that like me and a bunch of other guys, we would like, you know, show up and just like spend like a good hour or two, or at least me, at least an
Some
hour or
people
two.
longer.
Yeah.
Some people 8 hours.
Yeah, and then like getting your like takes on like, oh, what'd you think of this comic? And you've always been pretty honest about like your opinions on comics, even though like it's your job to like sling them, you know. And
My
then
job
also
to sling good comics.
exactly there you go. And then same with like the movies and stuff. It's always good to get like your take on things too. So yeah, man, that's cool, man. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to get your comic book shop going. I'm excited also for like the community to check it out too. So do you have like an estimated date, like of when you guys are gonna open?
So we were absolutely shooting for the 15th.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then we're having flooring issues in the new building.
Okay.
And so I'm not even going to be able to take possession of the new building until the week of the 13th.
Okay.
So that could be it, you know, I don't know what day in there, right?
Yeah.
But so basically at this point I have all of the furniture being delivered to my garage.
Okay.
So as soon as I get keys, I will be able to go. I don't foresee it taking more than a week
Okay.
to get it up. I'm already getting my diamond shipments.
Okay.
I already have my first order coming in. You know, like
Okay.
I have the biggest comic book order
Yeah.
that I have ever got in 10 years coming on Wednesday that I have to sort through, you
Yeah.
know, and then find a place to just put it until I could go to my shop.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all the like the little things now
Uh-huh.
so that when it's time to go in there, I could build the furniture and just put the stuff where it goes. You know,
Okay.
I have it mapped out in my head, and
Yeah.
as of right now, it's gonna work.
Okay.
When I get in there and start building stuff, I might have to change it a little, but I have everything moving, you
Okay.
know. So
Okay.
So me and Jose, we've been excited about that place. So every Sunday we go play Pokemon Go. We would drive around and we would drive around the over there and in shape like, hey, let's go to the other side. Let's see we're gonna guess which one's gonna be the new shop.
so which one do you think it is?
I go for Deep Ride. I
I-
said Deep Ride.
So yeah, I go the one that's kind of next to where Pocket 8s used to be.
Uh-huh.
So
There's like a mailbox place
right
Yeah,
next to it.
yeah, that-
yeah, right there, that small place.
Kong's right.
Oh shit!
I was like Deep Ride Comics.
Yeah.
Come get it.
Yeah, D-Brad
Deep
Comics.
Red
No,
Comics.
so I've already paid for it, and
Uh-huh.
it'll be put up soon. But there's going to
Okay.
be a big old yellow and black sign that says Comics
Okay.
where D-Bride is.
Okay.
So like one of the guys that comes around and hangs out at the comic shop, like Scott, right? He works for London. So did you have to go through him or?
I didn't have to go
Oh,
through him, but
but
like he.
Yeah.
So he kind of had an idea of what was going on
Mhm.
this whole time, and when it became clear, because I tried to buy Red Sky,
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
right? When it became clear that that wasn't going to work, and I was going to do my own thing, because
Mhm.
from the outset,
Uh-huh.
I was not. It wasn't a secret that I was going to have my own comic shop one way or the other,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
even in talks with my ex partner,
Yeah, yeah.
that was said is
Okay.
that I could buy it
Uh-huh.
or I can leave and I'm going to do my own thing regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the minute that it became clear that I was doing my own thing,
Uh-huh.
messing immediately
Okay.
was like, I have a spot you should
Okay.
check out. And I went over and looked at it, and it was perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a spot that I'm not positive that in 3 to 5 years
Mhm.
that I will have to grow out of, because
Yeah.
I do want to do games and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. But it's bigger than the old spot.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's not funky like the old spot. The old spot had like the little rooms and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
closets that just took up space.
And the parking was kind of like you know, it
Right.
wasn't that big. The other one was big, nice, bigger parking, so you could do more stuff in that parking lot.
right,
need
and I
to.
already have permission to do free comic
Yeah.
book day out there.
Okay.
So
Oh, that's
that's
awesome.
going to be a big old shindig.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is, so it's more like the old spot,
Yeah.
but not as deep.
Okay.
So it's a square. You know, you could do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room in the center. I don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
and
stuff.
you get more traffic that way because if you do free comic shop day, you could just post right there, like
Like a
have a sign
banner.
like free comics,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, for that day, and then we're just gonna drive by G Street, so more exposure, right?
Well, that's the thing I love
Yeah.
about the D-Bride
Mhm.
sign, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
when it says comics, that is probably one of the most
Things that are
fairwayed exit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like anybody who goes to the gym or
Yeah.
get donuts or goes to Paul's place is
Yeah.
going to see it because it's centered
Yeah.
with exiting that parking lot, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then you can see it because it's going to be bright and yellow. You're going to be able to see it from G Street.
Yeah.
You know, it's not facing G Street, but
Mhm.
you can still see it. And it's
Yeah.
a better... You know, I'm not worried now that people are gonna find my address, come to my building, and be like, "I can't find it" because I didn't realize that there are shops on the side
Yes,
of
I
buildings.
got lost the first time. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I had to look it up on Google. But wait, which one is? Oh, he's on the other side. I was like, okay,
yeah,
never mind.
People
Yeah.
people do not understand that on the side of buildings
Yeah.
there could be locations.
Yeah.
You know, and
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
It looked like it was like part of that. Was
Building.
it? Was it the hairdressing place?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I didn't know.
Dude,
First time got lost. You know
Even
what I mean?
like on the left side of like of Domino's Pizza, I'm like, oh shoot, there's stores there. Like I thought they were just buildings.
buildings.
like
Dennis.
Storage,
It's a
storage.
dentist. That's not a place I would look for a dentist.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
But and then it doesn't help that we don't have a sign,
Uh-huh.
and the sign that was there or
Yeah.
that is there now, that I put up
Uh-huh.
is like it's a vinyl.
Vinyl. Yeah.
It's a banner,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so it's not eye catching and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
flat. It doesn't stick out.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't light up. You know, I know that the Green Lantern symbol
Helps.
helps,
Yeah.
but I have that at my new shop.
Yeah,
and
there
the
you go.
Flash one.
Hey.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So-
So, how'd you get in? Not okay. So we kind of already discussed like how you got into your own comic book shop. How'd you get into
Comic.
just like comics in
like-
general? Like, what was your?
Yeah, so I loved them when I was a kid. I always say it's the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yes, I
Okay,
think that's for
that did a
everybody.
lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the 90s X-Men cartoon, I loved
Mhm.
that cartoon. So it
Mhm.
made me clearly want to do comics.
Yeah.
Right? And then I read them a lot when I was a kid. Like I remember distinctly the treasure of my childhood collection
Uh-huh.
was the X-Men Alpha or Age of Apocalypse Alpha,
Okay.
and it was all chrome.
Yeah.
The whole cover was
It-
chrome.
I'm telling you,
It was
Yeah, yeah.
shiny,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just remember having that so much so that when I got back into comics as an adult,
Uh-huh.
when I could afford it,
Yeah.
I found it.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta have that comic for my collection, you know? And so I have that one now. And there's one that I still haven't got. I think it was the Amazing Spider-Man maybe 300, but it was green and it had webs all over, and in the middle of it there was a square holograph.
Okay.
Oh, I
image,
see. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have that because I think that's like a Venom cover. It's
Okay.
like it's an important issue, and I think it costs more than I want to pay right now.
Oh yeah, it's like you're just gonna wait for the what's it called
The
facsimile.
facsimile.
Yeah.
Yeah, facsimile edition.
I love
for
those
it.
things.
Yeah,
So I had a question for you. So so you're an owner and you're a comic book reader, right? So how does that work? Like, do you pay the shop for the comics you buy, or do you what do you do? Like,
Do you like sneak a read?
No,
and
so-
shit?
like, what's the process? I was wondering, like, because since you have your own list, right? Because you have your own pull
Yeah.
list, like,
Yeah,
so how does
yeah.
that work? Like,
So I pay,
Mhm.
but I don't pay what you pay,
Yeah.
right? Like I
Clearly.
pay. The shop makes. So where I was, I paid 5% above cost.
Mhm.
So the shop makes something off of me,
yeah.
but not so much so that it's insane, right?
Mhm.
At the new shop, because I am just starting out and I don't have the clientele that I had, hopefully they'll come.
Yeah.
You know. I'm probably gonna do more than 5% above. I'll probably do like until I build it up, and then I'll drop it down to about 5% above. But
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, I pay completely.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering, because since you're an owner, like, but you have the comics with you, like, do you get free or do you pay, or
I mean,
what's
it
the
might
process?
be stupid, and I
Yeah.
might like be able to totally write them off for tax purposes and whatnot because I
Mhm.
have to read them to sell them. I
Yeah.
mean, I can argue that
Yeah,
it works better.
You have an argument
it
there.
works
Yeah,
better,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I know
yeah.
that some people don't,
Uh-huh.
but I think it works better. But no, I just think, I mean, maybe at some point if I'm doing so well, I'll do cost. I'll just
Yeah.
give the shop back what it paid
Yeah.
for the book. But no, I pay. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, see, I had always wondered that, like, how does that work? Like, if it was me, it was like, would I pay, or
So my old
would I
business
just read
partner,
it?
he would sneak reads.
Okay.
Mm.
What I
Yeah.
found though is I've never been at work
Okay.
where I was like, oh, you know what, I got like free time
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm always doing.
So, so like, I have always been curious about a comic book club, not comic book club, but what is it?
Yeah.
Book club, book club.
Yeah,
The comic book
Yeah.
club.
Mhm.
So like, because you guys had always talked about it with like other customers. I had just never known because you guys would do it on Thursday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
We do it. So we would do 2 meetings
Mm-hmm.
because we had at one point we had like 24 people,
Mhm.
which is very impressive,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to break those up. But yeah, so book club was a way it's building community, right? I think that it's important for a comic shop in today's climate to have a community and do things for the people who support you. I mean,
Mhm.
that's obvious. So one of the things that I came up with was a book club, and the way we did it was a blind box system where I'd come up with a theme. So a key example, the last month that we did book club at the old shop, we'll start the new shops in March, was the theme was it's the end of the world as you know it.
Okay.
And as a person who signs up for book club, that is all you know.
Okay.
I do not tell you what books you are getting. So you pay $25
Mhm.
and you are guaranteed to get more than that in the value of the books.
Okay.
Okay. So what we did was I gave the Walking Dead Volume 1 hardcover.
Okay.
So, that's $34.99,
Yeah, that's
right? The
like
big
a
one. It's
big
2
one,
volumes
yeah.
of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then I gave this awesome little trade paperback, the first volume of a 3-volume series
Okay.
called Sheltered by Ed Brazon. And
Okay.
it's probably one of the best comics I've read. I love it. It's an image book,
Mhm.
And you have to read it. You get a month. You
Mhm.
read it, and then we have in-store meetings.
Uh-huh.
And normally we did Wednesday and Sunday. I did one. Sunday ended up being a flop, so towards the end we killed it.
Okay.
And then we just come and hang out and talk about the books and what we liked about the books, and I feed you food. Sometimes it's pizza. After doing it for 2.5 years, I got really tired of Costco pizza, so I was like looking for other things. So I'd do like, here's lunch meat and rolls.
There
Let's
you
make
go.
our own sandwiches,
Uh-huh.
And then the other benefit of it, so you get, with that one, you got about $50 worth of books
Mhm.
for $25.
Yeah.
But then let's say you're like, I love Walking Dead. I want to continue reading it. I
Yeah.
missed the boat of the biggest media
Yeah.
hit ever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You got to continue and get the future volumes at a discount.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a way to. The whole point of it was to introduce you with stuff that you missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. So see, that's where I got confused because I thought it was like weekly, but you said it was like once a month.
It's monthly.
Okay, see, that's why I didn't realize. I thought it was weekly. Oh, I can't make it weekly. I got to work, but you do it once a month, and you have that day set like later on. I could probably take that day off. So I didn't know that though. See, because there was just a sign that said book club, but it didn't give like that much detail to like what was going on. Like we meet like once a month. This is what we do here. This is what we're all about. You know what I mean? I didn't see that. I didn't know about that.
It was my train that I drove. I honestly don't think my partner knew much about it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was always curious, but like I can't. It's like once a week. I was like, oh, I can't read this.
Once a month, and like we did real fun things. You know, the month before the end of the world, as you know it, we did the best of Warren Ellis.
Okay.
And so I gave everybody the first book, which again was like 14 issues of Transmetropolitan, and then Planetary. The first half of Planetary.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just good because a lot of times you just get into reading comics, you don't know where to start. Most people come in for the superheroes.
Yeah.
Superheroes are fantastic. I love superheroes. But there is some really amazing stuff that is going to be the future of media that you're not reading. And, you know, Transmet came out in early 2000s, you know. And so if you're new to comics, so much comes out in a year that it's sometimes really hard to miss the gems. And then there's the, you know, Sheltered, again, it wasn't a Walking Dead level book. It was a small Image book that came out that I was lucky enough to read as it was coming out, that most people never even heard of. Yeah. You know, and that was, everybody liked Walking Dead, but that was like a standout hit where like I have people already saying, when you open, I want to continue on Sheltered. Yeah. So,
and I also wanted to say, you also do have a knack to, is it a knack? Knack. Okay. You do have like this ability to be able to introduce comics to somebody that doesn't necessarily read them, and I'm talking from experience because if I remember, I didn't know where to start, and I was like, okay, I like Batman. I've always kind of been like, I've always wanted to check out comics, but I never had the money for it. And then finally, after watching Variant Comics at the end, he'd be like, oh, this is my pull list of the week. And he'll go over like different issues. And then they were like, oh, this is a good place to hop if you want to get into the Batman. And I was like, okay. So that's when I went down to the comic book shop, and I was like, hey, I was like looking around, didn't know anything, you know, super self-conscious about it. And I was like, hey, do you guys have this comic? And then you're like, yeah, we have it right over here. There's also, you know, so you like introduced everything pretty good. And yeah, thank you for that.
No problem.
So, yeah. Also, Kong, he wasn't into like comics for the longest time. He was into, what were you?
I was just reading graphic novels, like just easier. Because like say, it was kind of hard to jump into something where you don't know where to jump in. It could be in the middle of a series and you don't know what's going on. So I would just read the graphic novel. That way I could just, you know, read everything from start to finish. And I wouldn't have to wait. But Jose showed me when Dark Knight Metal started. Like he showed me the single issues, like the chrome cover ones, the foil cover ones.
Yeah.
I got into those, but I started when Rebirth started. That's when I really got into the single issues. Because that first issue for Rebirth, like it just sets up the whole DC, like what's going on and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, but what would be some like good advice for somebody that's kind of like wants to get into comics but doesn't really know how to go about it?
Yeah, so my rule of thumb has always been, if it's a superhero comic from Marvel or DC, just grab the newest issue.
Okay.
They write them in such a way that you are not lost unless they want you to be lost. Okay. Right? I mean, like, everybody's read a comic where Spider-Man's like, oh no, I lost my job last issue. And I mean, basically, he's like, I lost my job. But, you know, in the dialogue, they tell you all the information that you need to follow, right? Yeah. And then every once in a while, they'll throw out this fun fact where it'll be like, yeah, I used to date so-and-so, you know? Yeah, and then people are like, what? And then it's like, that happened like 20 years ago. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, you now know. You're good, you know? Yeah. Or, you know, because they used to do editor's notes on those where it'd be like, bam, see X-Men 7, or, you know, whatever it is. And they've kind of gone away from those. I think DC plays with it a little more than the other ones. Yeah. But those things, I think, break people because then they're like, oh, I feel like I have to read everything from issue 1. Yeah. And when it comes to superhero comics, you don't. Yeah. No.
You know, like, not for those.
You don't. Now, if you're talking like Image and stuff, I would say that's more like your Game of Thrones, right? If you watch Game of Thrones season 3, episode 4, you have no clue what's going on. You're lost.
You're gonna be lost. Yeah.
Don't try it. It's a fun experiment, but you won't enjoy it
for sure.
And so with those, trades are great to get caught up. But that's, I mean, there's a comic for everybody.
Yeah.
That's, if you don't like superheroes, that's great. You don't have to. I guarantee you I could find a superhero comic you'll like, but there's so much more in comics, you know. And I think, don't be afraid that they're for kids, because they're not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're definitely not for kids, man.
Some of them. Yeah. But, 10% of what's published is for kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So question, so like in a month or so, like there's every week, every Wednesday is always new comic book day. Like do you choose which comic books you guys gonna like put on your shelf, or do you guys get everything from that list? Like how's that work?
Yeah, so I don't get everything from the list, but I also don't, it's my job to curate as a shop owner, to curate to a level. And with me, I tend to like a lot. I'm not so picky with, I like mainstream stuff. I like edgy, independent stuff. I like experimental,
Yeah.
But I find that there are shops that they make the judgment call.
Yeah.
And so, I don't like Scott Lobdell.
Okay.
So I don't read Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I work really hard not to make fun of the people who read that awful trash book. But I think it's an awful trash book. But I'm going to stock it, right?
Yeah.
Because we all like our things. I like comics. I like some comics that I read it, and I'm like, man, I have to be the only person reading this awful comic. But I love it. Yeah. Right? Like, I love it. Right? Because we all like our bad B movies and our bad, you know. Yeah. Where you watch it and you're just like, man, this is trash, but it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to order everything, because as a shop owner, it's my job to kind of have an idea of what you guys like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you know? And so like some of it's a gamble where I'm going to be like, I really think this book's going to be awesome, but I really don't know who's going to read it. Right. And then it's up to me just to either shill it and make you guys want to read it, and hopefully you like it, or to mitigate my losses, right? Like a book like that, I'm not ordering 50, right?
No,
I'm ordering
definitely not.
5 to 10, and then I'll probably sell 3 or 4 and be happy, but yeah, so I go through previews. I try to keep a breath of what's coming out, and like sometimes, like look, Mr. Miracle. We ordered 50 of a book called Mr. Miracle about a character that is amazing, but like really hasn't carried his own title to that level. Yeah. And we sold through all of them. But that's just because it's Tom King, so it was easy, right? It's amazing. But it's passion, man. If I love something so much, it's not hard to get you to try it. Yeah. And if it's really good, you'll know it's good.
Yeah. Very true. And then on the new shop, are you still gonna do the what's it called, the weekly spotlight?
I don't know if it'll be weekly. I still think I'm gonna hit the 3. Right? I'll go 3. I'll pick them all, which is good for me. You know? But yeah, where you'll get them at half price. So at the new shop, we're gonna do this thing called it's a loyalty program. Okay. So we kind of tried to do it at the old one where we had, you were a VIP member. And then with that, you got certain perks, right? Yeah. And so with this one, there's actually a program that we have where it's basically going to be for every $1 you spend, you get a point. Oh, okay. And for every 100 points you get, you're going to get $5 back.
Oh, okay.
Right? Oh, wow. So coupon for $5. But the thing that I'm going to do is you're able to set what's called accelerators. And so Wednesday... New Comic Book Day, right? New Comic Book Day is an event. It's a party. Let's make it a fun thing, right? Yeah. So I want it to feel that way. But for people who come in on Wednesday, all day, anything that you buy, you're going to get a ×2 accelerator. Oh, okay. So if you are one of my Wednesday warriors, I love everybody, but I really love a Wednesday warrior, right? Because I know my money's coming, right? Yeah. You are going to get ×2 the points. So basically for you, for every $100 you spend, you're going to get $10 back. Okay. On your next visit, but it'll be there, and you can save them and stockpile them, or you can use them every time you want. So, and then there'll be other things, like the spotlights. Yeah. They'll be half price. Okay. But you'll get full points for them. Yeah. So the accelerator will be built into that. Oh, right? Okay. So there'll be ways to like maximize your points if you do certain things.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. I haven't heard of any comic book shops doing that. Well, Then again, I only go to like
one.
Yeah, like a handful of them.
Yeah.
So
They're
yeah.
bad comic shops. They're good comic
So for Wednesdays, so I have a pull list too, right? But my pull list not that long. I have like maybe 2 or 3 titles, but I like going on Wednesday because when I go on Wednesday, they have like all these new comics on against the wall, and like, oh, I see something I like. It's not part of my pull list, but I'll take it. Oh, the cover looks nice, so I'll end up spending like $30 instead of like $10. I won't have 3 titles, but I was like $30-$40. Like, well, you know what? It was worth it. Let's just go home and go read it.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's what I like about Wednesdays. Like you said, Wednesday's nice because you see all these like different titles.
They kind of
different covers that you don't know that you wanted, but you see them like, oh, I'd like it. I'm gonna take it.
Right.
Like what was it? Those new covers, the
acetate
covers.
Acetate covers. I was
Dude,
like, I seen. I was
we're
like,
suckers for
oh,
these things,
I took
dude.
it.
We're suckers for everything that's like gimmick, man. So if they're foil 3D or acetate covers, we're like, okay, we got to get these.
I don't know why, but I'm just gonna get it. You know what I mean? It's not part of my list. I'm probably not gonna read it, but I'm just gonna pick it up. I'm just gonna pick it up.
Yeah. So yeah,
So that's the good thing about going on Wednesdays. You know what I mean? I love going on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
When I was going to school a couple months back, I was like, I couldn't go to Wednesdays no more. I was like, Jose, can you pick me up this cover?
I did
Can
that
you
for
give
a
me this
while.
cover, put it in my box, please.
I did that for a while.
Like, I missed it. It killed me a little bit. I was like, I couldn't go until Friday.
Yeah.
I believe that I say like 50% of comic book habit. It's a habit. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that people who are like hardcore comic book fans, it's a lifestyle. I always say like I went on my honeymoon.
Oh wow.
And we went on a cruise. And I had to miss Wednesday. And like my whole Wednesday on a boat down to Mexico was off. And like my wife knew it and she thought it was the most hilarious thing, but I was just like in a funk. You know, I was just like,
It just threw you off.
Yeah, I was
oh my
just
god.
thrown off because it's like I have to go to a comic shop on Wednesday, you know? Like
oh man. Yeah, that's always fun too. It's like a ritual too, you know what I mean? And then sometimes like even if you go to like a new comic book shop just to go like check things out, it's always kind of refreshing, you know? Also going to like conventions and stuff like that. I love going to conventions. It's just fun.
So like when we go to San Diego Comic-Con, we go as just regular attendees. So you went last year and you went as an exhibit as a retailer. Yeah. So what's the like describe that, cuz I know there's a difference between us and what you guys do over there. I mean,
realistically there's not, right? The biggest thing is that I have access to the Diamond panel that you don't.
Yeah. So like, what's at the Diamond panel? Like, what do you guys do?
So you sit down and they feed you because
the free food.
Awesome.
I like food.
And then they, every publisher that is they're called premier publishers. So like, it's Marvel, DC, Boom, the big ones, the ones that you could probably name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They do a summit basically where they get up there and they tell you about what's coming out. And so, it's San Diego, so it's a little delayed, right? But like they showed us all the Mary Jane covers.
Oh, okay.
Right. So like, which is great.
Yeah.
And bad because then I'm sitting there going like, man, I need that Captain America Mary Jane cover. Or they'll announce, a series that's coming out, or, I think it was they announced like the return of Marvel Zombies in that one shot.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll be a big series too. We're talking 6 months ago now. I don't remember everything that they announced, but it's basically, and then, the biggest hit at this year's San Diego Comic-Con Diamond Summit is they announced that we were getting new boxes. Because as a retailer, UPS and Diamond are our bane of existence. Because when we get a box that is crushed, and we just know that there are going to be comics that don't hit the shelf, and that I'm going to have to deal
merchandise
with
or like
upset
pop
people.
Stuff.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. Damaged books. So they announced that they were getting new boxes that were like they had
crush
a bigger.
proof.
They weren't crush proof.
Oh god!
But they had a bigger level of like you had to squish it harder for it to actually crush.
Okay.
And so that was like the big, like, that's the greatest announcement
That's
ever.
sad, dude. That's super sad right there, man. Because it's like, seriously, you guys know there's a problem and you guys just barely want to address it right now. Like,
it's been 40 years, but we're working on it. We're working on it, all right? We're coming up with something. Our team's on it.
Diamond's job is not easy.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're sending these little paper books in a box with other paper books. And then to make it even harder, you're sending them for people to buy, who are insane, right? Like they're looking at the spine. You got to have that 9.8, 10.0, you know, like, and like I always laugh when people are like, yeah, you know, mint condition. And I'm just like, dude, if you knew how many people touch this book from that point to this point. So you buying it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm never, you know, people are like, I'm buying 2 so I don't have to read 1. And I'm like, I read it. Like I had to look through it to make sure it wasn't messed up.
Yeah.
Like, my fingerprints are all over that book.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Diamond does not have an easy job.
Uh-huh.
But man,
Yeah. It's
the
like, come on, dude.
boxes,
The crush
stuff,
box.
you know, the way that they pack the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, literally you should be like, we want a nerd to pack this box who understands the love of comics, right?
Yeah,
But instead they're
yeah.
just like, we just need someone to pack the box.
anyone.
The guy's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Fucking throw it
gonna
in there.
throw like 7 books in on a trade paperback so they're sideways and leaning over, and then I'm gonna throw like something on the end that's leaning over so they're just like flat. They're bent.
That hurts me right now.
It hurts everybody.
Yeah.
Opening one of those boxes has been like, no.
Man, I wish I could see the faces of you guys that when you guys open the boxes and they're crushed and you're like, God damn it, like not again. Like,
yeah, it's funny. So I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Again, I understand, but
Okay.
like, let me tell you, there were comics just thrown across the room. Working with people, they just get so mad. You're just like,
wow.
Oh God, mommy hit daddy. Can't talk anymore. Gotta shut this down.
it's violent.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
for Comic-Con, we would have to like wait like in that waiting room on the website to buy our badges. Like we have to wait like an hour, you know what I mean? Like if you don't get picked, you know what I mean, you
Yeah.
have to keep waiting.
The open
So
registration.
it's like for you guys, for retail, like how does that work? Like you guys just they send you like an email, like
yeah,
do you want to go?
That's
Or?
exactly what they do. They send us an email. We're normally guaranteed 2 tickets,
Mhm.
and that we have to take care of, you know. And then sometimes if you do it quick enough, there'll be hotel rooms that you can get also.
Okay.
I didn't do it quick enough to where, so that's the downfall, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
guys get your tickets in like October.
yeah.
You can book your hotel in October or November, right?
Yeah, November. I think. Well.
Oh, it's still not. I checked it yesterday. The hotel's still not up yet for Comic-Con
Okay,
yet.
but I mean,
Yeah.
okay, but
Generally,
so
generally.
I got for sure 100% got approved with my tickets in like June.
Mhm.
Okay.
So when it came time to get my hotels,
Mhm.
I spent way more for a hotel
Oh,
6
yeah.
than I ever would want to spend in
Yeah.
my life. Right?
That's
Like,
usually how it goes. Yeah.
I was just like, what? Like
Even Motel 6s are like super pricey, like around that
I think
time.
200
for 4 days.
Oh,
yeah.
I think for 4 days I spent like $700 if not more. It was insane.
They know what they're doing, man.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing over there. Yeah. And then, yeah, so.
But I mean, other than that, I guess my experience at Comic-Con was your experience, right? So
Yeah.
I did my one retailer thing, and then I went out and had fun with friends and tried to meet up with people, and you know, customers of mine went, so I had dinner with people, and
I was gonna ask, are you able to like get in early and stuff like that too, or nah?
no.
Oh, okay. God damn it.
So you get all, is it 6 days, right, including preview night?
We get 5
5
days.
5
days.
days. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah.
So you get a preview night. So that's just basically the only thing is that you just get that dinner or that
Yeah, I get
lunch.
Summit, and
Eh.
you know, which is good because
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you walk out of the Summit, they hand you a bag of fancy comics that you guys
Oh,
can
yeah,
get,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
so, I
right.
mean, like that's
That's one of the
always
perks.
fun. You know, they're like, we know that it cost money to be here and that you had to pay someone to be in your store.
Yeah.
So here are some books that you can maybe sell to try to make some of that money back.
Yeah,
right?
and they give you guys some good some pretty decent comics too that are
Variant.
very good variants to like sell and stuff.
So it's on the comic book shop to for them how much they're gonna sell it for. Because sometimes I've seen in there.
Well, a lot of those comics like are like released through like the companies too, right? And some of them are Diamond exclusive ones as well.
So, I mean, the value of anything
Yeah.
is what someone will pay for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And,
Always.
and the horrible thing about the internet is there's this thing called eBay.
Yeah.
And people have way more money than they should.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes where people will pull up comics and someone's spending like $100 for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That comic ain't $100.
It's not.
right?
That's funny.
But the problem is, since one idiot pushed the buy button on a $100 comic, that comic is now $100
$100.
Yeah.
comic, right?
Yeah,
and it takes a very long time for it to adjust,
Yeah.
right? And because the comics industry, as a retailer,
Mhm.
you know, I always say, like, if you were a TV salesman,
Mhm.
right, you buy a TV for $600, you sell it for $1,100,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
you double your money normally.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of money, right? Like,
Yeah.
$600 is great profit.
Yeah.
As a comic book person,
Mhm.
you sell a $3.99 book I probably paid $2 for it.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making my money $2 at a time. So
Yeah.
when you can sell something online, I hate doing it because
Mhm.
I'm the main market. I'm not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
when you have a book that I can sell you, it's a $3 book, but I could sell it online
Mhm.
for $20 or $40
Uh-huh.
or whatever, right? It sometimes feels like I'm giving away $20 bills if I
Yeah.
don't do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm here to the people who take care of me, I should take care of, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's one of the
Yeah. And you're pretty good at taking care of
Yeah,
people too. So
I feel like variants are different, right? But I
Mhm.
still think you shouldn't be super greedy with variants.
Yeah.
But I feel like the speculator market
Mhm.
kills comics.
Oh yeah.
Because there are issues that sell out, and then some, like there was a Captain Marvel where this character Star was introduced. She gets her own series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
the Star, right? And it was like issue 6, right?
Mm.
So the problem is like I'm glad that they're creating new characters and people are excited for new characters. But what happens when the person who just saw the Captain Marvel movie comes in and says, "Hey, I want to read Captain Marvel," and I'm like, "I can get you 1 through 5,
Yeah.
and then issue 6, unless you want to pay $30,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you're gonna have to skip it."
Yeah.
And then people are like, "I don't want to do that,"
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
it runs people off.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do second printing, third printing. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Some not
If
all
it
the
gets
time.
popular,
And even
yeah.
second and third printings are valuable sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It happens. It's like, guys, what's going on? I never understood that. Like, because they made a slight alteration to the logo
Or the cover.
Oh,
the
yeah.
cover. It's just like,
There's a new cover.
Yeah. Oh man.
So are you at your shop? So are you gonna be selling like your graded comics too, or are you gonna have comics that you're gonna grade just to sell? So, or from your own personal collection, or what are you gonna do?
So I have good stuff.
Mhm.
Not even from my own personal collection because
Mhm.
I've been buying collections and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
I don't love graded comics,
Yeah.
right? Like
Uh-huh.
they're not comics anymore. I don't love graded
Yeah.
slabs.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't love wall plaques,
Uh-huh.
right?
How
Because
dare- No, I'm
you're
kidding.
never
I'm like,
gonna
I wouldn't.
read
No, I'm
that
kidding.
book
I don't.
again.
No,
I was like,
yeah,
"Is there
yeah.
one up there?"
No,
No.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, I think eventually. I don't think it's something that's going to happen day one because there's
Mhm.
a lot of other things that I have to focus
Yeah,
on
yeah.
and
Mhm.
deal with,
Mhm.
But I do believe eventually that I will have some. I don't know to what level, because the other problem with having graded comics in your shop, depending
Mhm.
on what you have in your shop,
Mhm.
it adds another level of security,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Because I don't want to leave a book that's $700 just sitting on my
Right
wall
there. Yeah,
all
yeah.
night long, so all someone has to do is break a window and then
Yeah.
there it go, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to figure out ways to put them in a safe or hide them or whatever you're gonna do.
I think the shop in Modesto, like they had that problem at first,
Mhm.
like
Because they had a lot of graded comics on
But-
like displayed.
But even before they did that, I guess they broke in and they took like the shirts and the hats, and then they went back like another day, and that's when they took like the comics, and I was like, yeah, there was like this whole thing about that. They even made it to like Bleeding Cool, so I
Mhm.
was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, Bleeding Cool is trying to help get the comics back.
Yeah. I think they only managed to get like one or two back. I think
think
it was
so,
the Spider-Man one, but yeah, good times. But let's see, should we? All right.
So after you watch all the the Avengers movies, right? You had a 10-year
I'm all
investment.
caught up.
So you caught up. So like, are you excited for the next installment, or are you? Because for me personally, like I was like after Avengers ended, I was like, the next movie's coming out. I'm not really excited. Like the Eternals, the new Black Widow, all the other stuff. I was like not really invested as I was before the Avengers ended.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, I think that like Black Widow looks fun,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
right? And the Eternals, I don't know any. I've been reading comics for a very long time. I think I've read like one Eternals comic.
Okay.
They don't show up that often.
Yeah.
I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
Right. However, for most people, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was in that same boat. Right.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
I was lucky
true.
enough that I read Annihilation, so
Okay.
I was the in group on Guardians. Right. Like I was one of the 12 people. Yeah, so it's different. It's hard because the problem that I see with Marvel's movies is that they're fun. They're popcorn movies. But I feel like it's like this giant house of cards.
Okay.
Right? Like everything's connected and like so here's a key example. Like Black Panther was amazing and it built Black Panther.
Mhm.
But then there's the number ones that I don't feel like are building that character
Mhm.
so much as the universe, right? Or so like, Avengers 2.5 Civil War.
Okay.
It so did not feel like a Captain America movie. I feel like the Captain America stuff was shoehorned in, and it was just a way to get like Spider-Man and everybody together. And,
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Well, sure, but I want, I want Demon in a Bottle Iron Man. I want to grow these characters and play with them and tell crazy stories with them. And I feel like the problem that I have is that like we're not getting that. Right, we're getting like, let's build this shared universe and tell these big stories, which are epic, right? Like a 22 movie epic thing that culminated and was amazing. Sure, but at the same time, like I'm not done with Captain America. I want another Captain America movie. Look at Batman. How many movies did it take to get a great Batman movie?
Took a while.
Right, like I'm a Nolan guy, right? So I love Batman Begins into The Dark Knight, right? But Batman Begins wasn't an amazing Batman movie. It was good, right?
It was good.
So it took 5 movies to get to like what I. Like cinema history, like The Dark Knight's amazing, right? I don't even, it's a film, right? It's special. And, we got 3 Cap movies. We got 3 Iron Man movies. And you know, I love Iron Man 1. I've watched it more than I ever should have, which means I can't watch it anymore. It's kind of boring, now, right? But like, I think there's a good Iron Man movie out there. And I don't know if they've cracked it yet, right?
Yeah.
Because Iron Man 2 was a hot mess. Iron Man 3 just showed me that Iron Man doesn't know how to land without crashing.
Which one was the one with the Mandarin again?
3.
That's 3. Yeah, where like every time he landed, he like rolled and crashed into stuff, and I was just like, really? Like we haven't figured this one out yet? Like, but like Thor is a key example, right? Like, so Thor 1 was Thor 1. It was introduction. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm not gonna say that it was a 10. Right? It's not amazing. Thor 2 had moments, but all in all, like they left a lot of plot threads hanging. It wasn't put together. It was very, Malekith was on the screen for like 5 minutes. Who gives a crap, right? And then you got Thor 3, which I hated because it's a comedy, and I don't want to watch Thor as a comedy.
Funny dude.
I hated.
Then they made him the dude in Endgame.
And then, well, you're right, but then in Infinity Wars, right, the one before Endgame, that's like the Thor I want to see.
Okay.
He was just bad. Can we cuss on this?
Yeah.
Okay, he was like badass. He was great. He was, the man, and then in game they duded him up. Killing Thanos completely crushed his soul, and he was just like a fat slob.
I love that.
No, it's great when he's yelling at the guy. Don't be mean to me. But and so it bugs me that Marvel seems like they're doing 3 and out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm glad that we're getting a Black Widow movie. I would argue way late.
They should have got it when he came out during the Winter Soldier, when she was badass in that movie.
Got it before she died.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that works out, too, but I'm probably going to rent it.
This takes place during Winter Soldier.
This is a prequel. I'm pretty sure this is like a, not a prequel.
What she was doing when she disappeared at the end of 2? Whenever there was the trial, she leaves.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, Winter Soldier. This is when she left.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, and Eternals is great. So I didn't like the Joker movie, but I respect DC completely for doing what they did with the Joker movie. And I wish Marvel would do that, right? Because the example that I'm always going to throw out is I want to see Saving Private Ryan with Captain, like hardcore R, real life war movie, people getting mowed down with trench guns, right?
Okay.
With Captain America, Nick Fury,
Ooh.
and Wolverine having to go behind enemy lines to save the scientist, right? Like the guy who's going to create the next big thing, and have it be like, Wolverine's in a trench and he's just getting hit with a machine gun and bits of flesh is flaking off,
but he's still running.
Yeah,
crazy.
And then he regenerates, or like Cap actually killing Nazis and not just knocking them out.
Yeah.
Well, that first scene of Wolverine Origins, like that first scene where he's fighting throughout history, that one's really good. After that, the movie just died.
Right, but I want it like out of continuity, right? Like I want a Viking Thor movie, right? Where like he is fighting shit. Let's go the Beowulf, right? He is fighting mystical creatures, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Netflix shows we don't talk about because they don't matter. They never really did. Like Daredevil was good, whatever. But like, how are you gonna do an Iron Fist and not have him punch a dragon?
Oh yeah.
I just want him to punch a dragon. That's all I want to see. Like, I don't want to see like a boardroom. I don't want to see like Iron Fist secession. Like I don't want to. Like
the wolf of what is it called? Iron Fist? Wolf of Iron Fist? That's
Yeah.
what it's going to be?
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to see like, boardroom tactics with
Yeah.
Iron Fist where like it's like, come on, I watched Iron Fist is kung fu.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see Raid Redemption meets like Marvel superheroes. Like I
Okay.
just want to see Iron Fist whipping ass.
Just kicking ass.
Yeah,
Just
like when Daredevil's non-technique fighting scenes were better than like the kung fu cinema of what Iron Fist should have been, we have a problem.
Damn. No,
That's why they got canceled.
Yeah. Take my money, Josh. Make
But-
that movie right now.
I would love to. Yeah.
Did you ever
Here's a
watch
blank
so as grown up, did you ever watch Blade? Blade coming up like right? Well, the first Blade was really, really good. Second one was good. Third one was okay.
That's when it was ahead of its time for CGI.
yeah.
So I always fight with people,
Uh-huh.
and I might be wrong, but
Okay.
like, The Matrix did not introduce bullet time to me. Blade did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, because there's that whole scene where like Deacon Frost is out in the sun and Blade shoots and he grabs the girl like Deacon Frost, and that's bullet time.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
when everybody's like, "Oh my god, The Matrix and bullet time," I was like, "Dude, come on."
Yeah. No, yeah. I love Blade. Like
I didn't know he was a Marvel.
I didn't know either.
No. He was in Spider-Man. I remember he was in Spider-Man the animated series. That's how I knew about Blade. So I watched it. But like that's what like started off like what like the movie renaissance, right? Because he played first in X-Men. Then they made part 2. Then that's when Spider-Man. Then made Spider-Man. Like, but Blade started off like he started off as the movie, like just everything else. So they're remaking Blade. I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. Like, is he gonna be like rated R, or is he gonna be a lot of killing, cussing, or
be
what's
West
going
Supposed to
on?
be rated R. Or at least that's what they've hinted at, right? Because we're getting Deadpool. Deadpool has to be rated R now, right? But so that's the one thing about like this. I said Marvel has a house of cards, right?
Yeah.
So I've watched 22 movies of Marvel.
Yeah.
Right. So they're all like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
No vampires. No mention of vampires.
Yeah.
Nothing. Right. Like they're all like normal people.
Yeah.
Right. The villains aren't. Yeah, right. Like they're people. Right. They have suits or they're from another planet. No vampires. Not one mention in 22 movies. Right. And now we're gonna throw Blade out. And after all this crazy stuff's happening in these Marvel universes, there's going to be vampires.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then like that's the other problem with X-Men, right?
Uh-huh.
Now there's mutants.
Yeah.
So are mutants just now awakening?
Yeah. Okay.
Or and in the comics, I understand the difference between mutants and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But like in a movie where they don't have time to really flesh that out, what's the difference between Spider-Man and Cyclops? Or Captain America, or Thor.
See, I always wondered that too. It's like he has powers and he's not human no more. Like,
but I hate that one.
Yeah.
That one's a muty freak. But this one I love. He's my favorite dude.
Well, it's like you're born like that.
Yeah.
Well,
how do you know?
born like
Yeah, did you
like-
see Spider-Man at 3? No, like you don't know if he's born.
Yeah.
Like he's not walking around going, "I got bit by a spider."
Maybe he had the X gene. It just never manifested, and like something happened.
Right,
It just
was
it came
the
out. Yeah.
spider that bit him.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
made him manifest because he got his
Exactly.
powers as a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have been through puberty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
but-
in the Amazing Spider-Man, they try to explain where the dad made the spider out of his own DNA. That's why he worked for Peter Parker, and then that's why when he tried to use that same spider serum for the Goblin, it didn't work that well for him.
right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they kind of explain that. Well, like, so is he? So what's going on? Is he immune? So does it only work for him? It awaken his genes, or what's going on? You know, you don't really remember that?
No.
Oh yeah, because the movie
I'm,
was
like,
terrible.
lost.
Part 2 was terrible with Electro and all that corny
Amazing
like.
Spider-
Man, those movies. This is controversial.
Yeah.
I get yelled at a lot.
We've talked
at
about
my
this a lot at the
Those
comic book
movies
shop.
are way better than Sam Raimi's movies. I don't care what you say.
Oh,
They're way better because you know what? Spider-Man acts and talks like Spider-Man.
Yes.
He makes jokes, and they're not like corny Tobey Maguire jokes. They're like real jokes.
Like straight off the comic book page. Yeah.
right. Like
no, he was good as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker, he
was
wasn't nerdy.
He was the ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man. Yes. Peter Parker, not so much.
Because Peter Parker was kind of like nerdy, like wimpy,
See, I
where
don't-
Tobey Maguire was wimpy. Like they
See,
had
this- I feel like this is when you read Peter Parker, right? Because when
Okay.
I think of Peter Parker,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna date. I go back to the '90s, and the '90s cartoon, he wasn't
Okay.
nerdy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
He was
buffed
like
out.
a normal dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wore like a brown leather jacket, and he was like, I never looked at him and been like, man, it would suck to be Peter Parker. He
Yeah.
dates a supermodel,
He's
guys.
smart as fuck, and he has like powers. So.
Yeah, like, but if you go back and read like early Spider-Man comics,
Mhm.
he was a super nerd.
Yeah.
Right? Like big
Yeah.
old round bottle glasses and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? So I think it just depends on when you met Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Because I never looked at I thought Spider-Man was just like the everyman who was super shy and super smart, so he wasn't like a jock, right? So in high school circles, you're not the cool dude. But he wasn't wearing like a pocket protector. He wasn't going to be like a member of Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much Kong during high school.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, so back to the movies, like they're trying to introduce like the mutants, like so they try to do Fantastic Four again, like a couple years back. It didn't work out, right? So they bought that out too, right? Disney bought that out. So I wonder how they're gonna introduce that into the universe. Is it gonna be separate, like Logan separate, Deadpool separate, like X-Men, or they can try to bring it into the main universe, or are you just gonna make two different universes?
So let's have fun. I don't know.
Okay.
But if I was in charge, if they came to lowly old Comic Book Clubhouse owner
Josh,
and said,
here you go.
Josh,
Here's a blank check. Do whatever you want
stuck,
with it.
and you're the only one who could help us. This is what I would do. So one, Fantastic Four is super easy to bring into the Marvel Universe, right? It's in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So you do what you did with Ant-Man, right? You introduce Hank Pym. Hank Pym was an old dude, right? He's old, right?
Yeah.
But so the Fantastic Four were shooting rockets into space.
Okay.
So why can't you go back and 60s? We're gonna beat the Russians to the moon.
Okay.
And they get in their spaceship and they launch, and on the way to the moon, they encounter a black hole, which they get sucked into. Right? And that's where they get their powers and everything, right?
Okay.
But then all of a sudden, cut to today, the signal's back, and the Fantastic Four, or the Reed family, the Challenger excursion that was lost to time, is now back. And you give them the man out of time story, or the family out of time, and they have to find their new place, right?
Okay.
And there, you have like you could make, because Marvel loves its comedy, right? You can do the whole like, gee shucks in like today, right? And you explain everything, right? And you could even have like, you can plant your seeds to where like you can't do it now because you already did it, but like in game. You could have the poster of like the failed launch in the
background or something.
The background, right? Of like the military base. But you can do that with other movies, right?
Yeah.
Like as you encounter, boom, right? And for them, no time has passed.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, it's been 50, 60, 70 years, right? Okay. And so they're easy in my opinion, because that explains everything, right? That's basically their origin minus the time jump.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With the X-Men, I would do them separate. And the reason that I would do them separate, you could have Wolverine. If you want Wolverine in the Avengers, you take Wolverine. I don't want an X-Men movie with Wolverine anymore either. I'm done. Okay, like let's do the actual X-Men. Okay, the real ones, not the one that came in 20 years later.
Yeah.
Right? No one likes Wolverine, right? No.
It's whatever for me.
But no, I would do it separate, right? And I would build it up, and I would, because one is the X-Men as a franchise alone is the Marvel Universe, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can do 10 movies off the X-Men a year, and still never run out. Uncanny X-Men,
There's a shitload
X-Force, Gambit,
Excalibur,
Excalibur,
New Mutants still hasn't come out yet,
right? Yeah, you could do different movies, and I would treat it like Marvel. So I would do the X-Men, and it would be like Scott, Jean, the original 5, right? And then build it out and grow it out and do different ones. And the reason that I would do that is, what is ever going to beat Endgame?
Yeah, that's a tall order.
Right, cinematic.
It's a tall order.
But if you build the X-Men up to be just as big of a franchise as the Marvel Universe, you can do Secret Wars. You can have them cross over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to explain why there's mutants now. You can have them cross over. You can have Avengers versus X-Men as a movie where they're fighting each other.
Nerdgasm right there,
You just wait
dude.
10 years, right? Just build up the X-Men franchise, treat it with love and care, and then Avengers for AVX coming to theaters near you. And I think that's the only thing, minus like an Avengers versus Justice League, right? That would make anybody iconic, right? You built these franchises up. It's Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, right? Like it's the big theater going experience that you never thought you would ever get.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine if they did though? Just come on, guys, let's do this.
So, did you watch the last X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix?
I did.
You did.
I didn't.
It sounds like we watched it, but
it was
okay. It wasn't great. I mean, it had some of the stuff that I want, but then again, it's like, for some reason, these film producers do this weird stuff where like they're like, oh, you know what, like we can't use the Shi'ar, so we're gonna make her like an amorphous blob lady who takes over a human. Like they just change arbitrary things.
Okay.
That just seems like real half thought,
like out of place.
Yeah, it doesn't work. They're weird because, like, I remember I went and saw Superman Returns. Superman Returns is this awesome Superman movie that nobody likes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Brandon
Yeah,
Roth.
yeah.
Most people hate it.
Uh-huh.
But I remember I watched it with two friends. One's my best friend, watched most movies with if I can, and then his friend, who I never got along with, right?
Okay.
And I remember walking out of the movie, and we were talking, because that's what we do, right? You talk about how much you like the movie, and I remember his, so, hey, Eric, what'd you think?
Uh-huh.
And he goes, it was okay, but, like, I just didn't. It was not realistic enough, and I'm looking at him going like, "Okay, it's Superman. What are we talking about?" And I was like, "What did you find not realistic?" Right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, when Superman flew through fire, his hair didn't singe or his cape didn't singe." And I just remember like pausing, taking a beat, and looking at him, and I'm going, "But the flying, that was perfectly
the flying
real. Like,
was realistic.
You could stop there, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about
realistic,
but like that." And I feel like those are the execs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're like, oh, what? Like, there can't be alien bird people, and it's like, dude, you got someone who shoots beams out of his eyes.
Yeah.
And you're
worried about that,
you, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's like for years and years we never got the costumes, right? Like Daredevil was in a leather motorcycle outfit, or like the X-Men were in black leather, right?
Yeah.
Like, why can't they be in spandex? Why Spider-Man have to have this weird costume?
Yeah.
Because it's not realistic. They're swinging. They're flying there's a jet in a dude's backyard and no one knows.
Nobody notices. Yeah.
It takes off. Like
the whole basket. You lose how many basketballs in that movie? That school goes through.
Like, how does he get the was it the gasoline there? Like the jet fuel? Like
fuel. Like, why are we spending $10 billion on fuel for like on a monthly basis? Like,
this is insane, right? Yeah, like no one looks at that school and sees the jet fly out of it and is like, that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
No, he minds erase them, guys. It's fine.
He
just erases the memories for good.
But there you go. He does that, but then like he's so fallible in those movies, right? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, just don't overthink it. It's comics. I don't care.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Just have fun with it.
As long as it
Enjoy
makes
it.
sense in the rules that you give me.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. So what were some of your like top movies for like 2019 that you were like, oh, okay, these are pretty solid?
Doesn't have to be comics.
It doesn't have to be comic movies, just movies.
You know, my favorite movie is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
That's like number one.
It's different. It's very different.
It's the ending.
Yeah.
You know, so I enjoy. I'm not a huge Tarantino fan.
Okay.
Right? Like, I think Pulp Fiction's good for its time, but like a lot of people who think that it's original, like it's French cinema. He just brought over stuff that he was watching that you had no idea what you were watching, right? Yeah. And then he brought it to the masses, and it's great. My favorite Tarantino movie is Jackie Brown.
Never seen it.
My second favorite is Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, that one's awesome.
But then I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that is number one now, right?
Okay.
And it was the subversion of what you thought, right? Because it's not in reality, right? But you didn't know that until the end.
Yeah.
That flamethrower scene was just epic.
That was crazy.
Like, like I'm waiting for it to happen, you know, and then they show up, and I'm like, oh man, they're gonna kill this guy. Like that sucks. And then it just goes like haywire, and it was so brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
It went so far left. You didn't like you said, you were expecting it to go one way because of history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what happened.
But then and then it just goes, nah, like we're gonna go this way over here.
And it makes the name so perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah,
but you don't know that, right? Until you hit that moment. And I just thought it's so good. Endgame is absolutely up there. I really enjoyed Endgame. It too.
Haven't watched it.
I love it. The new It movies, like probably one of my favorite horror films. I'm a huge horror guy. Loved it. Thought it was great. Yeah, I mean those are the ones that are totally standing out.
Stand out
yeah.
for you.
Unfortunately, I have young kids, so I don't get to go see as many movies as I want.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Okay. Have you gotten to watch the new Star Wars yet?
I have.
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
I really liked it.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
You
can only do one.
Thumbs up, 100%.
Okay.
Like
all right.
7 thumbs up.
Okay.
I loved it.
All
like I get why people complain.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Wars is, you know, like so people go see movies, you know, like especially older people who actually were alive when Star Wars came out. You know, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
It's a life-changing moment, right?
Yeah.
Like they can tell you, I saw Star Wars and you know, like long time, you know. So I that wasn't me, right? Because I was born in '85. But like my mom had those on like a generic VHS tape from where we recorded them off of television.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Because you know,
So illegal.
First
so
time I saw it
illegal.
was in Mexico, dude.
right?
Yeah.
But like, so I don't remember the first time I watched any of the Star Wars movies because they were there, right?
Yeah.
So like they're imprinted in my DNA, right? So they're part of me, right?
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't pedestal them. And I think that's the problem is like when people think of Star Wars, they pedestal. They put it on this little shelf. It's a movie that changed my life. And nothing is going to live up to that moment because nothing is going to, you know, and then also they're like real judgy. They don't want it to change, but they want it to change, you know, like don't give me the same movie because that's boring and I've seen it a million times.
I want the exact same thing but different.
Right? Because like Force Awakens, I went and watched it and I was like, this is amazing because it's the most Star Wars thing that I've seen since Star Wars. Right? Like it made me feel like I'm watching Star Wars, right? So I was really happy. I don't care if Rey's there. And oh, we're diversifying the cast. Oh no, right? Like you know, like I was like, this is great. Yeah. Last Jedi I thought was a fiery hot mess.
Okay.
Like
everybody could agree on that.
Yeah,
everybody
I just thought it was a mess. They like crammed 2 movies together. They were trying to be not Star Wars, and I blame the Star Wars fans for that because everybody went and watched Force Awakens and was like, oh, they just remade A New Hope. This is crap, blah, blah, blah. Rather than going like, oh, it feels like Star Wars. Yeah. So I think that they were trying to like react to that and be like, oh, they don't want the same thing. Let's do something different. Which they, like Kylo Ren told us 15 times in the movie. You gotta burn down the old to get the new, right? And I was like, okay, Kylo, I get it. Like, you don't have to tell me that. Yeah. And I just thought it didn't feel like Star Wars. I didn't like it. It was arbitrary, you know. Like, why does Finn and this new character Rose have to go to a casino for nothing? Yeah, right. It has no point in the plot. It changes nothing. If you cut that out,
it'll be fine.
It's like, the same movie,
it won't
right?
matter.
But we're gonna go on this weird detour so we can have our version of a pod race.
Yeah.
Right. But with Force Awakens or with Rise of the Skywalkers, I thought that like it was perfect. It made the stuff that needed to be made work. And then it also was fun and look, I didn't want Kylo to have a redemption story. Yeah. But it didn't make me mad. It worked. It made sense. Yeah. I wish that he like struck her down and rose to ultimate power and bad guys win, right? Like, I love Kylo Ren. He's like my favorite thing because his story is really good, right? He kills Han Solo, you know, or Han, however we're gonna pronounce that. I don't want to get yelled at. Han. But I liked it. I thought it was great. You know, the twist in it was fine. It didn't seem out of nowhere. Yeah. It was fun. Yeah. You know, they made me think that they killed Chewbacca.
Yeah. Yeah. Those bastards. Like, they played with my emotions at that, man. I was like, they fucking killed him. How do you kill Chewbacca, man? Like, that's... Yeah. You don't kill Chewbacca.
And not only how do you kill Chewbacca, but how do you kill, like, make the hero of the movie kill Chewbacca?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
You, like, had her strike him down. I was like, Force lightning.
Fuck, dude. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only problem is I was under the impression that Force lightning was, like, the path to the dark side. Not that your grandpa was the dude who shot Force lightning out of your hands. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
but whatever. I can live with it, you know, like.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Another standout was Ford versus Ferrari.
I saw that one.
It was amazing.
That one was pretty good.
I haven't seen that one.
It was really good. Christian Bale and
Tom Cruise?
No, Matt Damon. Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that movie was really awesome. Like the whole time they're trying to figure out like how to beat
how to build a car. How to beat Ferrari.
How to beat Ferrari. Yeah. There you go. So it was pretty good. Really solid acting in that one too. I did
not expect the end where he did that final round, and I was like, "Really?
Yeah,
like we're gonna do this?
Yeah. I didn't expect that.
And that's
either,
also
man.
me not knowing history, you know, because it's real.
Yeah,
but, you know, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect that either. I was waiting for it. I was like, "Is it gonna happen?" And I was like, "Okay, maybe it's not gonna happen." Next thing you know, happens. I was like, "Fuck,
wow,
okay, all right."
I thought you were setting up a sequel where you could come back and win.
Ford versus Maserati or some shit like that. Yeah. So those are all very solid movies. Again, same movies that kind of stand out. Nothing too crazy. What was it? The evil Superman one, was that this year too?
There's an evil Superman.
The evil Superman movie.
Oh, Brightburn.
Brightburn. I was like,
Brightburn.
Birthright.
What
I was like,
the-
Birthright.
That was
That was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But so I enjoyed that movie thoroughly. I think
Mhm.
it was early this year, right?
Yeah.
Where are the sequels?
Yeah.
Right? You showed me all that stuff at the end.
At
and
the
I just
ending,
want to
the-
see like the crazy, like the deep version of Aquaman. Like,
Yeah.
where are those?
Yeah.
I want those.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wonder Woman choking people out. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Batman's a vampire.
There,
Yeah,
there you
let's
go.
do, I'm
Let's
there,
do it. Let's
right?
go
Like,
crazy.
That's the universe I want.
Let's-
Right? I
let's
want part 2. You know.
Let's go crazy with
Next
that.
thing
I'm
you know,
down.
he's Ultraman.
There you go.
Then he's
we
like
don't
the
know.
owl.
Like, don't
Owlman.
tease me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Brightburn was great. It was an evil version of Superman to the T, right? I really liked it. I thought it was great. But then, like I said, you get that, like, the conspiracy theory guy, Mickey Rourke, at the end, right?
Yeah.
Michael Rourke. And I was just like, I want those.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to see next,
Yeah.
right? Really? We're building this universe out? Where's
Yeah.
that?
Maybe. I mean, it's only been in like a couple months, so
I
it
don't
might
know.
come
I
out.
want to know now.
Yeah.
I don't want surprise. I want to know.
I wonder how it did in the box office. I mean, it should have done good. I thought it was good. I don't know. Maybe not enough people went to watch it. Maybe didn't catch their attention. They should have released it like more closer to October or something.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
The whole kid thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to take my son, my wife.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
Superman.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like that's not Superman. Next thing you know, your kid's getting up at 3 a.m, like walking outside. You're like, what the fuck?
Oh no.
Yeah. I think same. I think those are like the movies that stood out mostly this
I'm
year.
sure if I had
Joke.
a list.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't do homework. I didn't know that we were going to talk about
No,
the best movies.
I just
Yeah.
thought of
No,
it.
you're
I was
good,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm fine. But
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
had a list, I might be able to find like a couple more that I enjoyed because I love movies.
Yeah.
Almost more than comics.
Yeah.
Probably more than comics.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up because I know you're
Yeah.
like a big movie buff. So yeah, that's why I thought of it.
I'm
Also,
surprised you didn't say Spider-Man: Far From Home.
that
It was
that
good.
one.
You know, there were things to it that they're better than the Spider-Man that came before it,
Mhm.
right? I like the tone. I like the friendships that are in there.
Yeah.
I guess the problem I have is when I think Spider-Man, I want New York, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to see Spider-Man swinging around San Francisco. It's
Yeah.
just not as fun, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that he was doing Spider-Man European Vacation
Mhm.
was like, okay, right?
Yeah.
But then the other thing is like, I feel like the plot holes in that movie are big enough to drive a Mack truck through.
Okay.
And then I feel like that Marvel realized that, and so they did that stupid ass twist to where it's not Nick Fury, but it's the Skrull.
Oh, okay.
Because then they could be like, well, it's not really Nick Fury,
Yeah.
and no one knew what was going right, and it's like, but come on, like,
yeah. I really want to see the sequel for that since they already
right? They
Yeah.
greenlit it now,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
happening. They're not breaking up.
yeah. Yes.
But the other thing that I thought was, can we just have a bad guy for bad guy's sake? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I get the clever metaphor
This
that
is-
Mysterio
Mhm.
is making a movie. You know, like he's
Yeah.
the director and he's making a movie inside a movie.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was clever, right?
Yeah.
But like I want fishbowl head Mysterio who's just like angry,
yeah,
and he
just mad.
doesn't need to be fired by Tony Stark. And like, can we just have bad guys in these movies, guys?
Well, so in the first one, they showed like a little teaser for the Scorpion. He just wants to find Spider-Man because Spider-Man's the one that turned him in.
Yeah.
So he has that hatred, like just pure hatred.
That's
like,
all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest problems with the Marvel movies is like, can we just have bad guys?
Yeah.
Can we like I get that like having the Mandarin
yeah.
with his 10 rings and being like, you know, in the comics they called him Oriental, right? Being like the stereotypical Fu Manchu bad guy, long hair, big old mustache.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's racist.
Yeah.
Right? Like I get it. So like let's cut his hair and make him look like a normal person, but still have him be the Mandarin with the rings of magic and like you know, can we have that? Like I get that a lot of these things are racist.
Yeah.
Well, they were made like in the 60s.
Sure,
so like,
and that's fine, right? And I'm not saying that we have to do the racist stuff, right? But can we like, you know, you could stay true to the Mandarin and not have Trevor Flattery.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Ben
Kingsley, you can not have that. And then be like, oh, we really messed up, so let's make a short that tells you what the Mandarin really is.
10 minutes short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
He's real, guys.
sorry.
He's real. We fucked up, but he's real. He's real.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
Yeah. And then they they didn't greenlight the Secret Six, or what were they called? The Sinister Six.
Well, they changed that because you're not gonna have Paul Giamatti and Dean DeHaan because you've already changed that. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I still think that might be happening. I know that the last thing I read was that they're actually talking to Holland to be in Venom too.
Yeah. That's another thing that's in the works too.
So I felt like Venom should have been a rated R, like, cause he was eating people, but there was no blood.
Yeah.
There was like no gore. He just like chow, like there you go.
You're so excited to get Carnage.
Yes.
A serial killer who's like brutally violent.
Yes.
With,
But if they told him,
but that's what I'm saying. You're gonna. But no, there's a fine line. Remember that The Dark Knight was a PG-13 movie, and there's some very graphic stuff in that movie, and a lot of it's just illusion, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like people are getting shotgunned, but you really don't
see it.
anything,
You don't see
right?
the blood.
Yeah.
You don't see
and then
it.
there's the magic trick with the pencil.
Oh yeah, the pencil.
Right?
That was
So you could do a lot of stuff. But no,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Rated R.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid of doing these rated R movies.
Yeah, they have. I mean, if they're gonna bring out Carnage, it has to be rated R because he's a psychopathic, crazy ass
serial
killer.
killer.
So
Like,
I want to see blood and interest.
yes, I want to see him drenching in blood.
I mean, Woody Harrelson.
He's
think
crazy
it's great.
enough.
I think it's great.
He's crazy enough.
When I saw him, I was like, okay, I'm there.
But his hair kind of drives me crazy. I mean, it looks like him.
He's gonna be in a red and black symbiote suit.
It looks like him. I understand it needs to be a redhead, but do we really need the curls?
Yeah,
like
that's
the Shirley Temples.
Go back and
do we?
read that first issue where he showed up. That's what he looked like.
All right, fine.
I just remember him from the animated series. That was it. Like he shared a cell with Eddie Brock, and I mean that Men Asylum. Like they came out.
Yeah,
I just remember him from that show.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that one. And then again, the Joker stood out, but that's like another copy of what, Taxi Driver?
Taxi Driver and Kings of Comedy mushed together. It really is. It's like a Scorsese love fest.
Yeah, it is for sure a Scorsese movie. And then what about comics? Is there any comics that stood out to you guys for 2019?
Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle for you?
Mr. Miracle. And then the X-Men relaunch has been so good.
See, he got me into it. He was, because every time I kept going to the comic shop, he kept talking about the X-Men, the relaunching X-Men. I was like, okay. I was like, back in my mind, I was like, okay, whatever. He's just talking. He tried to sell me comics. But I picked up that first issue. I was like, dude, this was amazing. It was amazing. That I picked up Power X. You know, like it just kept building up. Those issues were so good. But after that, it's like it just died off because they finished that, setting up that whole universe.
Setup.
Yeah.
But the X-Men series, like the X-Men's great. The problem with X-Men is they're hitting scheduling flaws. So like issue 6 was supposed to be out. We just barely got issue 4. So it's just slowing it down. And not that changes the quality, but it does change the excitement and anticipation.
It does, because that was the biggest problem for at least for me for Doomsday Clock.
I haven't read the last one yet. I get it this week.
I won't say shit about it.
I was like, I get it this week.
It's pretty solid.
It's been like 2 years, 3 years.
It was like 2 years.
It's 2 years and 2 months.
Yeah.
It takes, so it comes out every 2 months. Like I'm reading one issue. And I'm forgetting what's happening, like what's going on. Like it's 2 months, it's coming out again. So
I talked to Ramos because he actually got to read it because he got it on time.
Okay.
And he said it was amazing. However, it's one of the comics where when I read the end of it, I was like, I really have to reread this whole series.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
100%. You're gonna again the timing spaced out too long. And then there's other comics in between that also has like Superman and all this stuff. So it's kind of like, okay.
You forgot what you read.
I got to reread.
That's one of those things you want to read as a graphic novel than a comic book itself, because it just takes so long. It's like it's been 2 years.
Well, so in that case, yes, because of the delays.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with you on any of that. I think that comics are made.
I'm turning down your mic, man.
Sorry. No, I talk loud. Comics are made to be read in a serialized form, right? And I use key examples, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever read Saga.
Nah.
Okay, there's a character named Lion Cat.
Okay.
Lion Cat's cool. It's basically a cat that hangs out with the Han Solo assassin character.
Okay.
And he tells you when you're lying.
Okay.
If you say a lie, he says, lying.
Okay.
Okay. It's a
right.
cool character.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the issue number, but I remember reading it, and some shit goes down, and the spaceship gets a hole blown into it, and Lion Cat gets sucked out into space.
What the hell?
And that's the last page of said issue, right?
Okay.
So me, as a monthly reader, I am now spending the next 30 days
wondering what
talking to people and wondering, did they just kill Lion Cat?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Right? Like, what is going on, right? So for 30 days, it lives in you. And even if you're not thinking of it consciously, it's in your subconscious.
Yeah.
And it's cooking and it's brewing, right?
Yeah.
And then I get the issue and I open the page and lo and behold, Lion Cat's not dead. Thank God, right? And there was like a moment of relief and then it was like 30 days of stressing on it, right?
Yeah.
If you read that in the trade, you go, oh, Lion Cat got blown into space. Oh, no. Lion Cat's not dead.
Yeah.
In a split second, you lose what makes cliffhangers great, right?
Okay.
And so that's why I think that like comics are written to read one at a time with a break.
Okay.
So you can fester on it. So you can think about it. Even if it's not conscious, even if it's not in the forefront of your thought.
Yeah.
It's there and you're thinking about it.
True. Yeah, that's true. There is some truth to that, but it just, to me, like personally, it just becomes like a whole thing when it's supposed to be, what is it, monthly?
Oh yeah,
monthly?
no, Doomsday Clock, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because
And I was like,
it's every other month, but it hasn't even turned into that. There's like 4-month breaks in between.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and then oh man, I had another one just like I had it, lost it.
Well, no, I do agree with you that comics are meant to be read as like single issue, but the thing is that like you're only allowed like certain months to buy like a certain amount of comics.
Sure,
So
no.
you gotta choose what you're gonna buy. Like you know
Can't
what you're gonna
resist
buy.
it.
Like
Yeah.
this is my list. You know what I mean? I'm gonna spend this much every week with her. So I'm gonna buy these for sure. I see this comic over here. I'm interested, but
That's only if
I only have so much I can spend on a comic. So I was like, I'm gonna buy over here. Then eventually you see like down the line at a convention, you see at a booth somewhere they're selling the graphic novel. Oh, I was kind of interested in that. I'll buy it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have graphic novels.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean, like I've used them. I normally use them in a way to like, oh, I love this series. I want it forever.
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna get rid of my comics.
Yeah.
So now I just have 3 copies floating around my house, or 2. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not saying that there's no place for them.
No.
Yeah.
You know, because you miss stuff, and the companies don't overprint things like they used to. So you also don't have access, right? So again, that person who can't buy Captain Marvel #6 because it's a $50 issue. Well,
Yeah.
I could eventually give them the trade and be
Yeah.
like, read this and get caught up. You're good, right? Yeah.
Or they added like a side story where you didn't know about. Like they didn't advertise like, oh, I was supposed to get that side story. It didn't really matter to the main storyline, but it comes with the graphic novel. You know what I mean? Like they throw it in there, just add more pages into the graphic novel. So like you're reading it, it's like you're reading the main story, but you're also meeting all the side stories that comes with it. Cause same thing up for DC Meadows. They had like the main story was like 6 issue, but they had like a bunch of different
Yeah, they had the Forge. They had the
casting.
casting.
Yeah,
And they
that
had,
was the
like,
setup.
The Wild Knights
Yeah.
or Wild Riders or
Yeah.
whatever.
and then they
Yeah,
had like the origin
Dark
stories for all
Knights.
the Dark Knights
Yeah.
too. So they added all that in. That's like
Yeah,
over like 16 issues.
Yeah,
where,
when they do that, I'm really happy. Like I think that companies should do that more when they like if you're gonna collect an event,
Yeah.
put it in reading order. Don't
Yeah.
just put like here's Forever Evil 1 through 6, and then here's the extra stuff. Put it in order that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
that's what Power X House of X was, because they had like a list for it before it even came out, like what you're supposed to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know the order.
Or they would even like I like it when comics do that when they say like at the end of the issue it says read blah 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 issue number 10 to continue the story. I like it when they do that because otherwise I'm kind of like thrown off. I'm like
Yeah, where's the
I
story
don't-
in? You would hate the X-Men in the 90s.
Uh,
No, because literally it was X-Men and Uncanny,
uh-huh.
and at the time they told 3-issue arcs,
Uh-huh.
and I shit you not,
Uh-huh.
that every arc, their first 2 issues would be in one book, and then the last issue of the arc would be in the other book.
Oh hell
So
no.
it'd be like issue 1, 2, and then you had to read X-Men. So like when I shotgunned the adjectiveless X-Men run, right?
Yeah.
I never got an ending or I never got the setup. And I just read it all and I was just like, this is a nightmare.
Yeah,
you know?
that's-
So yeah.
I'm frustrated for you for that.
That's what happened with when Marvel relaunched their series Legacy. That first main issue they had was like, it was awesome. They had like so much like different stories what they're gonna do later on, but they just fizzle out. Like a lot of stuff didn't go through. Like because I was really excited for the Avengers 10,000 BC. You know when they showed like Odin when he was younger. They showed like the first Ghost Rider, the first Star Brand, the first person.
It's just every
Like
7
6
issues.
months,
Yeah,
every
it's
6 months,
7 issues you
they
get
bring out
one.
like an origin story. It's been 2 years. They only came out with 3 origins. They came out with the first Iron
I
Fist,
think they're up to 4.
the Star Brand, and then
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
I read a Black Panther one.
Nah, there was no Black Panther. I've
There
been
was
waiting.
no, am I just insane? Did I
I
make
don't-
that one up?
No, they didn't come
know.
out. I've been waiting on it. I've been
Okay.
on this. Like, I've been asking, like,
He's
hey,
been on that
when's
one.
this
That's his
coming
thing,
out?
I
When is
think.
coming out? Because I really like that build up for that 10,000 BC. Like, this is what happened. 10,000 before the Avengers.
Sure.
Everybody was here. This is the first person who was like.
Have you not been enjoying the series though?
I stopped reading it. No. I've been reading the 10,000 BC
There
ones,
was,
the origin
this
ones.
Great Ghost Rider series, and coming up in the next year, Jason Aaron's going to write Moon Knight, and then the rumor is that he's going to do his own Moon Knight book after that.
Huh.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of your favorite writers, right?
Jason
Aaron?
Aaron's great.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Okay. God damn it, was it? I lost my train. Dude, I
Just
can't.
I
can't.
Justice League Black Hammer was also a great comic of this year.
Okay. That was like a mashup one,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Black Hammer is this great superhero universe that Jeff Lemire created,
Uh-huh.
and then Justice League, and they just crossed over for no reason whatsoever, and it was fantastic.
What is Black Hammer? Give me some like background on some
So
Black Hammer.
Hammer started off, it's basically the superhero universe where Jeff Lemire is channeling the comics that he read as a kid. So
Mhm.
it's very Silver Age feel, but so there's a character named Abraham Slam
Uh-huh.
that reminds me very much of like a Captain America, or there's Golden Gale, who's basically Shazam,
Okay.
where she says Zofram and she turns into like this young girl, right?
Okay.
But she's like this 65-year-old woman,
Uh-huh.
and then she says Zofram and turns into like this young superhero
Okay.
that's like 9,
Not
right?
not to get confused with Zofran, the nausea medication, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
It might not even be Zofran. It's just what's in my head, right? And then there's Barbellion and Tiki Talkie and all Talkie, Walkie Talkie. There's all these
Mhm.
cool characters. Colonel Strange, right? Which is basically like Adam Strange, right?
Oh, okay.
And so in the story, they're stuck on a farm
Okay.
and they can't leave
Okay.
or they die.
Uh-huh.
And so they're just like trying to escape but live normal. But like you have this great situation where there's Golden Gale,
Okay.
who's this 65-year-old woman who just wants to get some and smoke cigarettes and drink, but she's stuck in the body of a 10-year-old
Oh,
and has
shit.
to go to school because they don't want any attention, right?
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
it's just crazy stuff like
Yeah.
that, right?
Okay.
And so it's expanded and done different things with it, but it's fun.
Okay.
If you like superhero comics
Yeah.
and not the characters, there's just so much love and good storytelling.
Okay. And then they brought like the Justice
They
League
swapped
into that.
places.
Oh, that's
So
nuts.
the
Justice
Black
League?
Hammer
Black Hammer
universe went to DC's universe, and and the Justice League got stuck on the farm,
Oh, okay.
right? And so it was funny to see which ones kind of like settled in to be happy at the farm,
Okay.
and which ones didn't, right?
Okay.
But and then the Justice League running into like Jon Stewart or Black Hammer,
Yeah.
and going like, what the heck is going? Colonel Weird was a member of the Green Lantern Corps.
Okay.
So it was fun. It was
Okay.
just a fun book that really like illuminated the characters.
Okay.
You know.
Check that one out. What's Absolute Carnage is okay. I like the first two
I
issues.
feel
They
like
built
it
pretty
petered
good.
off, though.
Yeah.
It got less. Yeah.
And then like the last issue, it wasn't even like a cliffhanger. It was even like they just cut it off.
Yep.
And I was like,
I killed him. Okay. They
Yeah.
released no.
like yeah, and like there was I don't know, there was no ending. They're like, okay, just finish reading Venom, go into Venom. Number
Yeah, go into
20.
Venom.
But I
something.
think that's the problem is so I think these writers come up with the stories,
Mhm.
right? Because
Mhm.
it's happened to Bendis if you listen to him, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think Absolute Carnage was supposed to be an event,
Oh, okay.
right? Like so when Donny Cates pitched it,
Yeah.
I don't believe that he was like, and then we're gonna do Absolute Carnage and it's gonna be
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
he's like, well, I got this story, and then Marvel looks at it and they go, oh shit, we could capitalize on that, right?
Okay.
And so it becomes a bigger
Yeah, that
thing
makes
than
sense.
it should.
Uh-huh.
Which then because it's an event, we want it to have like an epic
Yeah.
event-esque ending,
Yeah.
right?
Something a little bit more solid. At least give me like the cliffhanger. 'Cause
Sure, and
I
instead
didn't-
it's like really, yeah,
Yeah.
look, read the next issue.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what it is.
I was
right?
like, come on, man. Like you guys,
With that one too, there was a lot of tie-ins and spin-offs for that
Which
one.
is why I say
Yeah.
Marvel took advantage, right?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that like in 10 years, in next year,
Mhm.
if you're reading Venom,
Mm-hmm.
that's really going to pay off and be like a stepping stone to something,
Okay.
right? But because if you're not reading Venom and you're just like, this is a cool event and I like
Yeah.
Carnage, you're like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, because again, the events, some of them end pretty good. like what was it, the metal event? That one ended okay.
But that set
with
that,
the
that set up
epilogue.
for like the rest of the whole story that was coming out.
epilogue.
I'm
and
super also. I haven't read it, but I'm excited to read the last issue of Tom King's Batman.
Okay,
which I also get this week because that, in my opinion, is going to be the end point of one of the most crucial runs of Batman's history.
Okay, and I still haven't caught up on the Batman series. I still, from what I've read, I haven't really necessarily gotten the oh shit moment that's gonna change the mythos of like Batman yet. You know what I mean?
That never exists.
Yeah, if anything, it was the snap. Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, and it's going to affect him for a little while, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, he won up Scott Snyder shopping Alfred's hand off.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. And it's going to change him. But no, I think it's just the idea that I've read a lot of Batman comics. And in a lot of Batman comics, you know what I've never read? I've never read someone actually making Batman a real person.
Yeah.
Who gets affected by the stresses of his girlfriend leaving him at the altar, and like all the horrible stuff that happens to him, and write him in a way where I go like, oh man, like I could relate to that, right? Like you know, it's just special in that way, right? It's the first issue he did it was like the I Am Bane storyline where he was talking about how he thought about killing himself after his parents died, and I was just like, oh shit, like Batman's been around for like
forever.
80 years, and I don't think that I've ever read that.
Yeah.
But why would you not? Right? Why would you not be in despair because your parents got murdered brutally in front of you?
Yeah.
And be like, I'm going to off myself because it sucks.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, he's done an amazing job with it so far. I like what he did in the first arc when they just introduced with Gotham Girl and Gotham. Yeah, and Gotham. Like that was pretty solid. Like just that first issue was like, oh wow, this is getting really good.
Well, I felt like for the wedding, nobody was going to be happy with that. Like the way it ended, like it's either he gets married, they work as a team, or they leave, or something happened. Nobody was going to be happy no matter what he did with that ending.
And the problem with getting married is that there's a divorce down the road because he can't be married forever, right? You're either going to make a deal with the devil, or something's going to happen. You kill Catwoman, right? Like I always thought that it would be amazing if they said I do, and then Joker shoots her in the face and murders her horribly, right? Like,
or like later on, like there he's at the point where he's happy, and then she gets killed by the Joker. You know, I mean, like that would have been something interesting to read.
I think it would have been great if it was just like I do, and be like, whoa, but the problem is like how many fans would have been upset about that because it's fridging Catwoman, right? I mean, like I hate the term fridging, but that's what it is, right? Like if you literally said I do and then shot her in the face, right? So you can't do that because you're gonna piss off everybody. So why make them get married?
Why even do the whole wedding setup? Like,
well, that's kind of just like the setup.
Setup. They wanted to make money for events. Same thing, like because there was a lot of weddings for like a lot of. In X-Men, the people got married. Like who got married? Rogue, and then Colossus and Kitty.
They did not get married.
They didn't.
Kitty morphed through him and ran away.
Okay, and then
they sold the wedding. Someone was gonna get, and they were right because Gambit and Rogue ended up getting married at their wedding.
Yeah,
but Kitty was like, nope, can't do this.
Fantastic.
We had to put the ring on, and she morphed.
Fantastic Four, the Thing, and
the blind girl.
Yeah, they got married. So like it was just like, oh, so many weddings.
So weddings are a fact of life.
They are.
People get married. That's why can't superheroes? You know, like.
Yeah, that's
Superman and Superman Lois Lane works. You know, I mean, Cyclops and Phoenix works. Like
I don't know. I don't know if you can say the Cyclops and Phoenix works because this is the story where
Jean Grey,
Jean Grey dies.
Yeah,
and then Cyclops is in such distress that he moves to Alaska where he meets Madeline, who is her clone.
Yeah,
he doesn't
know that together. They have a kid.
Like, oh man, I found someone who looks just like the lady that I was in love with. They have a kid, and then the real Jean Grey comes back, and he leaves her. He leaves Madeline to be with the original.
Wow.
And takes his kid.
Wow. This is like in the new one? That's
no. This is old one.
But
this is the 90s. This is the 90s, 80s, 90s comics.
Oh, shit.
Where shit got real. Yeah.
Where I always make the joke, I love comics. Comics are great. And every once in a while, someone comes in and asks you a question. And you formulate that answer. And you go, God damn, this is going to sound so. I'm going to tell you this story.
Okay.
and it's not stupid. I promise.
Okay.
You know, it's gonna sound stupid, but it's not.
Okay.
And that's the problem with comics. And at the end of the day, you're like, oh no, like so Cyclops, he's in love with Jean, and you know, and then you're like, and then their son gets a disease, and they have to go to the future and raise him so he doesn't die. And then it's like, this person's not gonna want to read this garbage.
Dude, we go through this all the time. Like we could be like, dude, the cosmic doorknob, and they're like, huh? Like it just sounds so weird.
I have to say that I thought that was stupid.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
I was reading that. It's like Batmanium, right? Like I remember when Metal happened and it was like Batmania or Batmanium, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I remember the week before I read that, I was like, man, why do comic writers have to be so serious? Like, can't we just sometimes embrace the silly and like be goofy, right? And then I read that and I came back and I was like, this is stupid. Batmania? Who does that? This is garbage. Like, this is just ridiculous. You know? Like, what do you want? What do you want, Josh?
That's hella funny, man.
Sorry.
That's crazy, man. All right, Josh. Well, is there any like some handles that you want to throw out? Like, do you have Instagram or anything?
So I don't have Instagram set up for the new shop, but I will.
Okay.
Facebook's gonna go live, Comic Book Clubhouse soon. I haven't done that either.
Okay.
Same thing with Twitter.
Okay.
If you want to email me, you can email me at josh@cbclubhouse.com.
Okay.
If you want to order something from the new comic shop, it's orders at cbclubhouse.com.
Okay.
So,
do you want to throw out your also your personal or
Josh Trigg
Instagram?
on Facebook. I don't remember what
on your Instagram was. I'll post it up on the video.
Yeah, post it, and then Twitter, same thing. It's like jtrigg13. You know. So
okay. All right, man. Well,
we'll probably when his shop's open, we'll probably take pictures like what it's gonna look like, post it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Like where it's gonna be located,
what's
the
media.
outside looks like.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks a lot for doing this episode with us, by the way, man. So we're definitely gonna have to bring you back. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, this has been another episode of Just Kidding, man, and we are out.